Willie D Live.
What's up, family? We got a public official in Georgia who is trying to make America great again by rolling back the hands of time to a time when white folks involved in the murder of a black person could get off scot-free. A Georgia judge threw out all charges against an ex-prosecutor accused of protecting a white father and son who chased down and killed Ahmaud Arbery. Georgia prosecutors sustained a humbling defeat in court on Wednesday as the judge in the Jackie Johnson misconduct case tossed the final remaining charges against the former Brunswick Circuit District Attorney accused of obstructing the investigation into Ahmaud Arbery's killers. The felony charge of violating oath of office was vacated after Johnson's attorneys argued the 2021 indictment was riddled with technical errors that ultimately failed to show she violated the law. On Tuesday, Turner dismissed a misdemeanor count of obstructing police after he found not one scintilla of evidence that would authorize a verdict on that count. Prosecutors from Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr's office alleged that Johnson sought to protect her former chief investigator and longtime friend, uncivilized mutt number one Greg McMichael, after he and his son, uncivilized mutt number two Travis McMichael, chased Ahmaud in their pickup truck, so-called thinking he was responsible for a number of neighborhood thefts. After a brief scuffle, Travis McMichael fatally shot Ahmaud, who had been on a run through the mostly white subdivision just outside the city limits of Brunswick. No stolen items were found on his body. In 2021, the McMichaels were convicted, along with neighbor William Brady Bryan, who filmed the father and son chasing Ahmaud down, of murdering the 25-year-old jogger. An hour after the shooting, Greg McMichael called Johnson, his former boss, asking for help. Prosecutors alleged that Johnson, despite recusing herself from the case, pulled strings to keep the McMichaels from being arrested at the scene. Then, the 10-year DA allegedly saw to it that the case was transferred to a neighboring prosecutor, George Barnhill, who had already advised Brunswick police criminal charges against the McMichaels were not warranted. But Barnhill testified Johnson had no input in his decision. Johnson testified that she never told anyone to shield the McMichaels from prosecution. The good old days. The good old days when white folks could be involved in murdering black folks and their good white friends and neighbors would give them a pass. In fact, they would celebrate them. They'd have parties and congratulate them, and they would be pretty much local heroes. If they go into the courtroom, it wasn't really a wink wink. It was like, we just stroke of a pen. We just do what we want to do. No prosecution. If it was a prosecution, it was a dog and pony show. Look, guys. Jed is not going to jail. That's not going to happen. But right now, we got the DOJ looking at us and the rest of the world is looking and they're trying to see what we're going to do. So we're going to have a trial. Damn hell. Man, I had something to do, man. I was supposed to take my kids on a cross-country trip. Look, man, we're going to need you. Calm down. Calm down, Bubba. We're going to need you. We're going to need you, Bubba, for just a few days. Just when the stain blows over. I'm going to need you. I'm going to need you to be here to testify. Damn, you killed a whole man. That's the least you can do is just stay in town and go through the trial. Let us act like we're prosecuting you, okay? That's all I'm asking. There are people out there like the McMichaels who are bloodthirsty for black folks. They want black blood. They want to harm black bodies. They still have the mentality of the slave patrol. Where are your papers? What are you doing around here? Like, they deputize themselves when they see non-blacks. Now, when it's just white people, hey, we can work it out, whatever, there's a certain level of respect, whatever. But others, they immediately deputize themselves, and the police will give them a pass. This is why ain't no way I'm staying in a small town USA. That ain't happening. Most of those little small towns are ran by rednecks and people who do not want to step into the future. They're not progressive at all. They're not going to those small towns to build up something. They're going in there to get away with something. Yeah, a lot of them go to those small towns because they can't accept progress. And when you go into those small towns, you got the damn chief of police who is also the school superintendent. His son is the deputy. His daddy is the judge. His best friend is the county clerk. This family member works in the permits department. They just got the whole town on lock. I wouldn't live in no damn town like that. I got too many options. Let their uncivilized ass have it. They can have it. They can have them little small town. They can have it. Now, if I did move into one, I would move into one where I got some juice, where I got some power. Depending on what you're working with, hell, you can pretty much go into a small town and carve your own way. You can put your people in place in these small towns. Yeah, you can make yourself the mayor, depending on where you go. But yeah, I wouldn't live in one of those small towns. There's not enough oversight. This is why they get away with so much crime and corruption. That a lot of these big cities, this stuff happens, but there's more eyeballs on these public officials when they try something in these bigger cities. Those little small towns, they got it on lock. Not a lot of oversight. This is why, for all of you who live in those small towns, if you are being mistreated, expose them. But you have to expose them, and you got to go hard. You can't try to tiptoe your way into exposing them. You got to go all the way out so the world will know what's going on in your town. Because otherwise they might try to silence you. And they'll do anything to not have their evil deeds discovered. You got to be very careful. These uncivilized mutts, if they're going to allow these prosecutors to get away with misconduct, what is the incentive for them to change? What is the incentive for them to do the right thing in the first place? What is the incentive for an outlaw to want to do the right thing when he sees the people who are supposed to be the police just doing whatever the hell they want to do? Some people have that mentality, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Like, I don't give a damn who you are, what your position are, you ain't no better than me. So if you can do it, I can do it. This is why there is so much crime and corruption in the United States, because we are witnessing our own public officials and politicians engage in crime and corruption. We see it, it trickles down. This is why a lot of it go down, and this is why a lot of times when these people engage in crime and corruption, and they get a slap on the wrist by their other people who are in office. So there really ain't a huge incentive. Maybe they gotta go sit down for a few days, a couple years or whatever, but that next administration, it's all tied in. Maybe they don't get a pardon on this one, but let's skip this one, and then you'll get your pardon when such and such get in office. Because all of these guys are interconnected. It's a cold game, man. It's a cold-blooded game. R.I.P. Ahmaud Arbery. No more talk.